Imagine celebrating Canada Day with friends and family, when suddenly the vengeful spirit of a murdered pioneer returns to cause chaos and death. This is the story of the pioneer's revenge, where the joy of the festivities is transformed into a supernatural nightmare. Press play and prepare for the fear. It was a sunny July 1st, and the town of Maplewood was celebrating. Canadian flags decorated the streets, and the sound of laughter and music filled the air. People gathered in the Central Park to celebrate Canada Day with parades, food stalls, and fireworks. Everyone was eager to enjoy the day and have fun with friends and family. Among those present was the Thompson family. Michael, Sarah, and their two children, Emma and Jack, had planned to spend the whole day at the park, participating in activities and watching the fireworks at night. They arrived early and set up a picnic near the old Pioneer Monument, a statue honoring the region's first settlers. As the afternoon progressed, Michael decided to explore the area around the monument. He was fascinated by local history and wanted to learn more about the pioneers who helped found Maplewood. Approaching the statue, he noticed an old plaque partially covered by vegetation. Curious, he cleaned the plaque and read the inscription: "In memory of Jonathan Peters, pioneer brutally murdered in 1872. Feeling a chill run down his spine, Michael returned to the picnic and told his family about the discovery. Sarah, trying to lighten the mood, suggested it was just an old story and there was no reason to worry. However, Emma, who had always been sensitive to ghost stories, began to feel uneasy. As the night approached, the atmosphere in the park began to change. The clear sky gave way to dark clouds and a cold breeze began to blow. The lights of the food stalls and rides started to flicker, creating a sense of discomfort among those present. Emma tugged at her mother's sleeve and pointed to the pioneer statue, where a shadowy figure seemed to be forming. Sarah, trying to calm her daughter, said it was just the shadow of the trees. But when she looked again, the figure had disappeared. A sense of apprehension took hold of her, but she tried to push the fear away and focus on the celebration. As the fireworks began to light up the sky, a sharp scream cut through the night. Everyone turned to see a woman running towards the crowd, terrified. "There's something in the woods!" she screamed, attracting everyone's attention. People started to panic, and fear began to spread through the park. Michael, feeling the need to protect his family, told Sarah and the children to stay close to him. They started to move towards the park's exit, but were stopped by an invisible force that seemed to block their way. The shadowy figure of Jonathan Peters appeared again, this time clearer and more threatening. The figure of Jonathan Peters, now visible to everyone, moved with deadly intent. His eyes glowed with a supernatural hatred as he advanced towards the crowd. People started to run in panic, but Peters seemed relentless, attacking anyone who crossed his path. Michael tried to confront him but was thrown to the ground by an invisible force. Sarah and the children screamed, trying to help, but were kept at a distance by a supernatural barrier. Peters stopped in front of Michael, his face distorted by the hatred and pain of his violent death. Peters raised his hand and a current of cold wind swept through the park. He began to speak, his voice echoing like a haunted lament. "I was betrayed and murdered by those I trusted. My spirit will never rest until the truth is revealed, and my revenge is complete." Michael, trembling with fear, tried to argue. "We don't know anything about what happened to you. Leave us alone." But Peters just laughed, a cold and lifeless sound. "The truth is written in the earth, and blood must be shed for me to find peace." Desperate to save his family, Michael picked up a stone and threw it at Peters. The stone passed through the spirit, who advanced with even more anger. Michael knew that the only way to stop Peters was to discover the truth behind his death. Remembering the plaque, he shouted to the crowd, "Look for clues near the monument. We need to know how he died." Some people ran to help, while others fled in terror. Sarah and the children tried to keep Peters occupied, while Michael frantically searched for anything that could reveal the truth. Michael finally found a diary hidden near the monument. The faded pages told the story of Jonathan Peters, who was betrayed and murdered by his business partners in a land dispute. With this new information, he ran back to Peters, reading the words out loud. For a moment, Peters stopped, his empty eyes fixed on Michael. "You know the truth now, but that's not enough." With a swift movement, he advanced towards Michael, his ghostly hands extended. Before Michael could react, Peters grabbed him and a scream of pain and despair echoed through the park. With Michael's death, Peters disappeared, leaving the park in deadly silence. Sarah and the children, in shock, were rescued by other survivors. The police arrived, but found no signs of the vengeful spirit. However, the deaths and terror of that night left an indelible mark on the town of Maplewood. The story of the pioneer's revenge became a dark legend, a warning for those who dared to celebrate Canada Day near the monument. Sarah and her children were never the same, haunted by the vengeful spirit and the loss of Michael. Every July 1st, they remembered the terror of that night, knowing that Peters could still be there, waiting for his next victim. Want part 2 of this story? Leave it in the comments. If you have a horror story and want to see it published on our channel, send us your story.